Give me a D and a G. It's the Doug and Gus Show. It's the Doug and Gus Show.
Hey, dog, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small town brand with the big old Canadian heart. Welcome to the Doug and Gus Show now on Whitewater Rocks Radio.
What's up, Doug?
Not much, Gus. You?
I'm excited.
I know you're excited.
Yeah, it's about time we finally get a proper hip hop artist. We have had some, but we haven't had Jay Morris, and he's here with us today. What's up, Jay?
Hey, man, thank you for having me, man. This is dope. I appreciate you reaching out, man.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I've known who you are, being in Ottawa for a long time, and you've been performing for a long time. But when I saw you at the CMAs do the freestyle, which I don't know if it's a freestyle or if you wrote it, but either way, you did an amazing job for all of the sponsors and everything, right? So, how did that come about? They just sort of asked you to do that, and then you just sort of put something together.
Yeah. Well, Mike, hit me up and said, listen, this is the plan. This is what we have, and I worked with Melanie Brule and Quest as well, who did the production on the record to, kind of just put everything together. But they just gave me they gave me the idea on what they wanted me to do and gave me literally a list of all of their sponsors. And there was a lot. And I was able to, just come up with some witty, clever ways of mentioning the sponsors, but still, coming with the bars, not to make it too cheesy,
Yeah, of course. And it was really Ottawa too. You sort of brought that into it as well, which was great. Yeah. And it's upsetting for us because we were sponsors the year before, and then I didn't get into Jay Morris's freestyle,
Yeah, he had a little bit of a breakdown at the show. It's like, what the hell?
Well, I was wearing my purple suit and everything. I was in my purple suit. I
should have sponsored this year.
Yeah. I lesson learned.
But nobody told us, so we didn't know.
There we go.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. And then they'll do something different. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So tell, obviously you've been around. So how long have you been rhyming and doing your job that way?
Oh, man, I gotta put my age out there like that, eh?
Well, you were old too. We're old too.
It's all good. I'm proud of it. I've been doing this since I was 16, and I'm going on 24 years in this music game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up? What part of Ottawa?
Born in Ottawa, Centertown. Grew up all around the city. Lived in Vanier for a bit. Lived in South Keys. Lived out by Bayshore. I lived all around Ottawa, but mainly grew up in the Centertown area, and got into this love of hip hop. I saw this cat that I know in school writing rhymes in the school cafeteria, and I was intrigued and was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Yo, I'm writing raps." And I was like, "Writing raps?" I had no idea that people would actually do that. And I went home that same night, and I remember I don't remember the exact name of the record, but I remember the chorus from Nas and the nasty that record from Nas, and I was like, "Yo, this is dope. I could do this." And so those two moments really put into perspective what I wanted to do. And growing up, my pops is a reggae singer, so music has been in the bloodline from I was a little kid. I was going on stage with him, so it just made sense to finally put everything together and say, this is what I meant to do, so it's dope.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was listening to a couple tracks, and that's where I see the reggae vibe coming in.
Yeah.
Because I was like, whoa, this is cool.
Yeah. I just released a new record with my pops actually, called "Love You Like That," produced by Quest as well.
Hmm.
And we just released some visuals for it, so pushing that record right now for the summer.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I listen to. I really like that. That whole vibe of that song is great.
Rebel, is that the one?
And that's called "Love You Like That." Rebel is
Oh.
with Checo 7 and
That's right.
and Frank Black. Shout out to Checo 7 and Frank Black. But two completely different records and vibes. The Rebel record is more on the conscious, rap side of stuff that I do, and the record with my pops is more of the reggae could be played on mainstream radio kind of vibe. So I'm completely all over with it.
Yeah. I have a weird question. Did your dad work at United Way?
No, not that I know of.
Because my mother worked there, and
Okay.
one of the guys that worked there was in a reggae band. It was not the Perfect Circle, but something like that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Interesting.
My pop's name is Ross Lee, and his band is called the Vibes Band. Ross Lee and the Vibes Band. So
Sweet.
he's
Okay.
been doing it for a long time, man. Juno nominated reggae artist, Canadian Music Reggae Award winner. Like, he's got some accolades behind him. He's the ambassador for reggae hip hop in Ottawa, and so I got a big trail to follow.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, and you're doing a great job of it. What I just want to keep the sorry, dog.
No, you go.
Yeah,
This is
you'll get your
no. You take it. Take it.
So the YouTube documentary that's coming out or has come out about
Mhm.
Ottawa, the Ottawa rap
City
scene,
Limits.
hip hop scene, City Limits. How where did that sort of were you involved with that other than being interviewed, or was there some background work that you were doing on that, or?
No, not at all. Shout out to Ben Telford, man. Such a really great director, very young cat and very talented, and very promising career ahead of him. And he decided to do this for the city, and I think it really shines a lot of light on the hip hop scene. Showing some of the artists that people might not be familiar with. And it's there's more story to be told, but it's a great start, and I'm glad I was able to be part of it. It's a very, very dope documentary.
Yeah, it's funny. You don't think how many artists are from Ottawa, but there's a lot. There's actually a lot, and it was a great YouTube documentary. That's for sure.
Well, it's going to be good for us, for the city, and for the artists in the hip hop genre, right? Like, because I don't mean to be rude, but when you think of Ottawa, you certainly don't think hip hop.
Right.
No, I mean, but Belly comes to mind because everybody knows he's kind of gotten pretty big at one point. But there's a lot of Ottawa. Tom Green,
Mm-hmm. We could definitely have a 10 to 20 list of some artists that have really done some great things with Ottawa hip hop, but it definitely doesn't get the light like you're saying, right? I think there's still, for Ottawa, there still hasn't been that one artist that's really putting on for the city around the world. Which I feel there's some promising people. City Fidelia being one of them. Is one of those artists that I feel could do that for the world. I'm gonna put myself out there too. But it's just about continuing to do what we're doing here, and like you said from the top, I've been doing this a long time, and some people give up, and a lot of people that I started with no longer do music, and sometimes I sit there like, what am I doing? And then other times I have opportunities like performing at an award ceremony and getting paid to do sponsorship raps and stuff like that. So you definitely never stop and just keep continuing to do what you're doing. And I think Ottawa has so much promising talent, like you said.
Yeah. Now, do you use your dad because he's a musical person as well? Do you use him as a sounding board and saying, if you're like you say at some point you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to continue doing this. Do you say, Dad, I need to talk?
Nah, I'll just like get inspired because every other week he's performing somewhere, and he's literally since I've been a little kid has been performing like weekly in the city, especially, and I'm amazed at how he does it. But he's in his 70s now, and he's still, when he's on stage, you wouldn't even be able to tell,
Very nice.
That's cool. I think it's the love, right? The energy comes from loving what you're doing, and I'm only assuming that as you get older, when you're doing something that you really enjoy, it brings the youth out in you. Would you say, even as guys that like our age, and maybe not there's Dog's age, but it's interesting. I think that's where it comes from for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I got 3 kids now, so I'm more than ever trying to focus on my health even more. So, I'm here a lot longer and can be able to do, like I said, the things like my pops is doing, where he's on stage, 70, 80 years old, 90 years old, and still be performing. That'll be amazing to me,
For sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. Kids in perspective, man, I tell you.
Yes, they do. Speaking with all the children that I have.
Yeah, well, I have twins. So I have twin girls. So yeah,
Okay.
I feel you. I get it. I have to get into the nitty gritty here because we're similar in age. So
Do it.
He grew up
Yes.
in the greatest hip hop era, in my opinion, of all time. Now, who is the greatest artist, lyricist of all time?
I don't know if I would I don't know if I could give you the greatest, but I'll tell you the first rap album that I ever got. And that album definitely, that artist specifically to this day is somebody that, everybody I feel like has a little mix of every artist, right? Kind of mixed in one pot. And I feel like this artist is one of those artists in that pot for me. And that's DMX with, I'm thinking I have to remember the album "Blood of My Flesh of My Flesh."
Blood of My Flesh. Yeah.
That's the first album that I ever bought in I think it was in a HMV.
Is that why do good girls like bad guys? Is that what? That's one of the. Yeah, that's one of them.
He had many records on that.
Damien.
And, Damien was one specific one. And then records like I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Just when you drop those later, or maybe that was earlier. But those records from DMX are definitely in my top list of records and artists is from DMX. And then obviously Biggie, Tupac, you can't go wrong with that. Method Man, Redman, Lauryn Hill for me, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, all those artists, Styles P,
Black Star,
Jadakiss, those are all artists that I definitely have probably taken a little bit of this and that from.
So mine was Tribe Called Quest. I got the first album.
I can't even believe
that was I still bump it all the time.
Yep, that's in the pot favorites. Too. That's in the pot
exactly,
too. Tribe Called Quest is fire. Q-Tip was fire, man.
I know Q-Tip, and he just LL Cool J just put a song out that he produced.
I was just gonna say too, that new LL Cool J record. It's cool to see artists, still be with it, because I think a lot of artists sometimes lose their touch.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if it's because they stop having that hunger or that that
they're rich
to do it. They're rich, maybe. Partly that as well. But I think some people lose their touch and some people can really go with it, and it's dope to see somebody like LL Cool J come back, or Q-Tip, still doing stuff. And
I love that. It's pretty good song,
inspiring stuff too.
Yeah. What about you mentioned Lauryn Hill, and I was talking to Dawg about this before. And to me, she's the greatest female hip hop artist of all time. That's to me
one of the greatest hip hop artists just in general, right?
Exactly.
Of all time for sure. And her album, I'm blanking because I smoked so much.
The Miseducation.
Thank you.
Education.
Her album, I would play that nonstop. So many records on there, and just the melodies and the bars, and I think that really influence the way a lot of people make music nowadays too.
Agreed.
It's being that album is top 10. Every list I ever see now, with top albums of all time, every genre, it's in either the top 10, the top 5, or it's number 1.
Yeah, I mean, when she left the Fugees, it was sort of a big thing because they were like, you're going alone. What are you doing? And then she puts out this album that wins 11 Grammys and sold, went platinum, multiple, anyways, it doesn't matter. Right. Back then you could buy, I still have the CD. So I know, but yeah, no, she's incredible. I love her music.
And it's crazy because artists, of that caliber and so talented like that, and she just took such a huge break from music, definitely makes you question things sometimes. Should you take a break from music? When artists like that, because you watch by, they lead by example as well, right? And so makes you wonder sometimes why people just take a break from music. But she's still killing it now. She hasn't released any big records, right? Any new stuff that.
No. Well, she's got that Marley money, right? She's got that Marley money,
and she kind of took the family life, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
I say Marley money. She's got Lauryn Hill money too, so there's no.
And she's got money.
She's okay. She's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Well, it's good to leave at the top of your game, right? Like it's hard.
Sometimes,
It's hard
yeah.
sometimes, like to put out something like that, and then have to top it.
Right.
You know what I mean? The pressure.
True, yeah. She
the
didn't
pressure.
release
It
anything
happens
after
for a
that.
lot of artists, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Did she release anything after that? I don't think so.
yeah, like I've never seen anything as of recent, that's for sure. And I
No.
definitely would love some more Lauryn Hill music. So
Mhm.
Me too.
putting it out there.
Yeah. Okay, Lauren, if you're listening, we need new music
We'll send her a DM.
Yeah, yeah.
She's always getting back to it.
to you, not to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I listened to a bunch of your songs. Now, are you conscious of how you're saying things in your lyrics? Because I mean, there's a lot of hip hop out there, a lot of swearing, and I've noticed the tracks that I heard that I listened to before we started the show, I didn't hear any.
That's awesome. Don't listen to like my stuff from 10 years ago then.
Got it.
Yeah, I just, grew up, I think. And yes, to answer your question, I am. More specifically after my last project, which was just released a couple years ago. My daughter, who's 13 now, to my oldest, she told me, Dad, I want to be able to listen to your music, but there's a lot of, swearing in some of your songs, and kind of, put me on game to cleaning it up. And so since then, I've been very, very cautious of not cursing in my music. But if you look into my catalog of older records, I say some things that I probably shouldn't have said before I had kids, and didn't grow up in this, and actually be an adult in this world. So things like that happen. So I'm different now with the music stuff for sure. I've changed up and more conscious about it.
Well, it might be just your timing too, like of your life. Like some things came out artistically that you needed to get out. Now you're more conscious of your lyrics, and you have such great flow. So it goes like, it just goes with the beat so well. You've got great lyrics. It's just maybe just
I'll give you one thing that so I remember, I've obviously, most hip hop artists will say stuff like F the police, and so I got a lot of records like that where I mention things like that. And it's funny how things work, but all these years later, my adopted brother ends up wanting to be a police officer. And so, I'm like, wow, karma. Eh?
Yeah. Don't listen to this album.
Yeah, don't listen to that record from before where I said F the police,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It didn't happen but he tried. But it was, he might.
It's hard to get in.
So it's funny, how that works.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of noticed I had to ask because I work at a school, and I've sat in classes where we're doing music appreciation. And of course, we have to show the kids different genres and different music and stuff. So, for rock and roll, the teacher came up with Elvis, right? And we played Blue Suede Shoes, and they're all like, what is that? Why is that video? Like, they don't understand that it's 55, 60 years old, right? And then they're like, well, who are your favorite artists? And of course, all the hip hop comes out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, these are 10-year-old kids
Right.
that are listening to all this hip hop. And I'm the teacher's going, do we have any clean stuff that they can listen to? I'm like, you're going to be hard pressed to find for some.
That's the other thing too, getting booked, and doing performances in schools and stuff, like, you got to have records like that. And so I'm trying to be prepared for those opportunities too, because I have, been booked in schools and been like, oh, what am I going to do? I don't have, now I got to bleep out live what I usually say in the record to make it work. Whereas now I have records that I can, perform for pretty much anybody.
Yeah, true. Diversified yourself a bit. Without
That's
even
it,
knowing.
and now I have conversations with my 13-year-old daughter. My other kids are too young. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old, but my 13-year-old daughter now, she'll come back and be like, Dad, police, they're this and that. And, as much as I want to agree with her, I'm like, well, they do good sometimes. That's what I'm saying now as a dad instead of F the police, so things change, right?
Yeah, you sort of have to rationalize a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did this happen to us that we had to grow up and stuff?
Kids, man. Kids.
That's why.
But we're not growing up, Jay. Now you're probably just like kids at heart, but you have to put on this facade for a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. You're leading.
Fair enough.
That's it, And they say, black don't crack, and I say even when you're half, So I feel very, very young in looks still, but the joints are hurting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Tanglewood, and most of my friends are black guys, and they like we'd go into their house. A couple of them are Jamaican, and the food, bro, the food. I have to tell you, like, because they they take you in. You're just a kid that grew up in the neighborhood, and you show up, and the mom's like, I made chicken, and I had this chicken, and it changed my life, bro. Because because like I'm not saying my mom was a good cook, but this was just like a little flavor, like it really like had a little bite to it. And I live on it now. Like there's a place in the East End where you can get curry goat, and it's unreal. Like it's really good. So I'm very much in Jamaican food. So just so you know, like it's
you're in Orleans.
No, I'm not, but that's where you have to go to get it.
Okay.
So I will make the trip. You know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah, they always say black don't crack, and it's hilarious because my best friend looks like we're still in high school. He's got gray hair, a little gray going on, but he's.
And my youngest son, so I go by your favorite light skin, right? And my my youngest, well, my only son, but my youngest is very, very white in different complexion than myself, even whiter than his mom, and so I call him your favorite white skin.
That's good. You could call himself that.
Yeah.
White skin.
You ever get any backlash over saying that? Like,
you know what? I have had people when I used to do radio back in the day. That was the moniker I would roll with, the alias I would roll with on air a lot, and just it's your favorite light skin here on. I used to be on 89.1 FM and a few other stations, but I used to get calls from people listening to the radio station every once in a while, and they would say, that's very racist. Why do you say things like that? And I was like, yo, it's what people call me. Like, I didn't make the name up myself, so I just ran with it, and it's very much an icebreaker. So it works out,
I think people,
no, we're not going to get into that.
I mean, just.
Well, I'm white and black, so I can say that.
Well, but it does. Again, it doesn't like it. It doesn't matter. Like you're saying, what you're saying about yourself. Why?
Exactly.
It's subjective. It's not. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Like you could. Your reaction is your own, but it doesn't. Yeah.
And
anyways,
the reaction I usually get is, "You're not my favorite light skin. I got many other favorite light skins."
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Well, okay.
I'm like,
Cool.
all right,
Like
cool.
moving on.
Exactly.
Moving on. But yeah, I never understood that. How does living in Ottawa affect your career as far as like, do you think you get as many opportunity, or if you were to be in Toronto or something like that, would that make a big difference?
If you asked me this question like 15 years ago, I probably would have said yes. It'd be better for you to move to another city. I think now things have changed a lot. I still, I moved to Toronto in 2009 for 10 years. And then I came back in 2019, of course. So in that time that I moved, I moved I feel just at a point where artists were just understanding that you could use the internet to its ability of connecting with people around the world. This is just slightly after MySpace and the popularity of that, for artists. And when I moved to Toronto, I thought, oh, this is a bigger city, more opportunity to connect. And I'm glad I did it because I made a lot of connections. So I wouldn't, stop anybody from moving to a different city to make connections. I think that's a great thing to do. But I'm glad I came back because there's been more opportunity for me music wise here than I had in Toronto in that 10 years, And so it was great that I moved there because I was able to build a lot of connections that I still utilize, from Ottawa here. But I feel like now in the 2024 times that we're in and where technology's at, you can connect with somebody, from around the world, right from, your own studios and make a hit record and both record visuals and put it together like you're in the same room, So you don't, it's a lot easier, I would say, in that sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that we have like for myself, I have to ask this. Do you find that we have a solid hip hop community here?
100%. Yeah. I think there's a lot more that still needs to be done to solidify it or to make it like a tighter, if that's the word, community. But there's definitely, very much a community here, and it's growing. And outlets and organizations like Cranium and Mike, being here and are also helping build that community a bit more as well, right? Yep. Infrastructure is important. That's always been something that's been missing from the scene, from when I was 16 till now is having, the right people in place to help out with the business and the infrastructure of things, as opposed to just, being in the studio recording or writing or producing, right? Like having somebody who's a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer, shout out to Byron Pascoe, right? Like stuff like that. Having, like I said, Oh My Cranium, just all these other, people and organizations wanting to make a change. Real House of Ensemble, Arts Network Ottawa, like all of these organizations are doing, positive things, and we could name a whole bunch more. So I think it's growing.
Yeah, good. It's good. I mean, it's as the city grows too, right? Like it's such a bigger city than I grew up in, and I'm sure obviously you too. And
yeah, well, absolutely.
Where'd you grow up?
Well, here in I was in Tanglewood, which is off of Marival, so area. So like that was I went to Marival High School, so I was around that area. Yeah.
Okay. How about yourself?
And I moved around. My dad was in the military, so I was born here in Ottawa, but left when I was 4. Came back when I was 12.
Awesome.
So I've been here since 1976.
Yeah.
So I just showed my age. But
you did, yeah.
I sure
So
did.
so let me ask y'all a question then, like especially you, like 1976 is, I wasn't born then. So what was the scene for music like, and when did you first know that there was? What year was it when you knew that there was hip hop here in the city?
It took me a while. It's not my genre, to be honest. It's more Gus's. But a funny story about that is we moved here in 76. The Eagles played here in 76 at the race, Rideau Carlton. And I wanted to go. My dad wouldn't let me because I was only 12.
Would you say that the first hip hop group that you listened to or heard of, it was in the 80s?
Yeah. It would have been the, no, 70s.
Ooh,
70s, okay.
Grandmaster Flash.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Who else was there? There was a few other ones around that era that I was just like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. I was always
who was there? Keith Sweat?
No, Keith Sweat was later.
Like
Okay. So there was a couple
Big
other
Daddy
ones.
Kane probably
Yes.
comes to mind.
Yes. There's a few. And like I said, like I'm not as huge a fan, but it grows on me. I'm a slow learner when it comes to different genres, but when I do start to like it, I'm going to dive in with all I have.
Well, you were listening to Jay Morris.
I was,
when I
because
walked in here. So.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. He was getting it in.
And so does that work? I know you said earlier, that you were digging to some of the records. So is that something you would put in your catalog of listening
Absolutely.
to? If you didn't have me on the show, it's okay to be honest.
No, even if I didn't know, if I didn't know who you were and I heard it, I was still.
You would agree though, like after Oh Mike, that's when you started listening to him.
Yes.
Yeah, because
to be honest,
just because like it was such an impactful moment in the show.
Right.
And
listen, I'm watching a guy on stage, spinning or whatever you call it, to freaking sponsors, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So, and you're just like in your glory, and I'm thinking,
oh yeah, my mouth was wide open.
This takes a lot of talent to do this. Like it's like it was amazing, and I was like, this is so good.
But it was so Ottawa too. It was
Yeah,
just great.
I know,
Like,
with
it
the
was,
video and it was
everything
amazing.
about it. Yeah, he did.
In the moment, the reactions from the crowd. I was backstage with Melanie and the team, and we couldn't really see what was happening on the screen, but we could hear everybody reacting to it, and so it was cool to every once in a while when there was a sponsor name drop, there was a section in the audience that went crazy because they were representing that organization or whatever it was, and then to come out to a bit of a standing ovation was really
well, it was well warranted, man. I was just like, seriously, it's like
it was dope.
Well, plus your time in now, like you've been around, so like to have the accolades of getting a standing O because of the fact that you've been around and you deserve it. So that was the thing. I think
that was very, very much a moment for sure.
Thank you, man.
When you rhyme, like when you put together either a freestyle or you try and write something, or like maybe what's your process? Do you still go to freestyle and sometimes you put something together that way, or is it just sort of a flow that you go with through? How does that work?
So like it's funny because most times I'm just constantly thinking of rhymes in my mind, so it's a little frustrating in that sense, because like I can look at like Dawg and Gus behind you and think of 1,000 things that rhyme with that.
I'm gonna ask you. Okay. Start writing it down. Get the
you
hamster jogging, you know?
Yeah. Like I right off top freestyle, I'd be like, I stopped cursing because I used to do a lot of cuss, but I won't do that when I'm on Dog and Gus. You know, like it's just I constantly think of stuff. It's terrible. And so you know, for myself, the process I think is listening to the beat and coming up with a flow or a melody that goes with that beat before I come up with the words. And so, you know, I might hear the beat and dun, 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 and then I come up with, you know, the rhyme that will go with that or the words that will go with that flow, you know, and that's sort of the process for me. But a lot of the times, you know, like Quest and I work together a lot with music, and, you know, sometimes he's making the beat as I'm making the flow and the rhymes. And so I'll go in and put down, you know, 4 or 8 bars, and the song's not even done yet. He hasn't even finished the beat, and then he'll finish up the beat. Then I'll go finish up the song, you know? So there's different ways of kind of putting things together.
Interesting. Yeah. I could imagine that your mind is a challenge because you're always thinking of like that's who you are. That's like you're wired in to see something, a sign on the street or see something happening. And then you
1,000 thoughts a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You probably wake yourself up in the middle of the night and freaking write something down just because you like,
quite often. Yeah. Or I wake up from sleeping, and that, you know, I've only in the last maybe 7 to 8 years actually been writing music down. Before, I used to just literally, you know, do it all in the mind, which comes from like, you know, my days sitting on a bus and thinking of stuff and not having anything to write it down. And I just got, you know, so good at being able to store everything in my mind and just do it in the spot. And so there would be times in the studio where, you know, people are recording their verses and stuff, and it's late, you know, 3 a.m, I pass out. But as soon as I wake up, you know, I have a verse, you know, I was thinking of it in my sleep kind of thing, you know, and I've had moments like that in the studio where people are just like, whoa, how did you do that? You know, and I've fallen off that, not being in the studio as much. But now I go down to you know, trying to write it, or, you know, using my phone and putting it on an app, you know.
Yeah. Do you find that you use the phone, like when if you have a beat, you can put it into
my voice recorder?
And then just do something from there? Yeah,
exactly. I was doing that a lot, you know, and now that I have, you know, my studio set up too, you know, I anything that I think of, would just hit record on the mic, and, you know, boom, I able to just log everything that way too, just sitting in my chair. You know, I don't have to actually rap in front of the mic. I could just, you know, hear myself and the ideas I was coming up with. So that's also a great way to do it sometimes, because like you said, with the freestyle stuff, sometimes I'll just come up with stuff in my mind and I'll forget it, but, you know, if I recorded it, then I can go back to it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Did you enjoy your alone time?
We did, yeah. He actually rhymed for us a little bit.
Great, I'll listen to it later.
Now that he doesn't cuss, he won't cuss. He doesn't, you know, he won't cuss on Doug and Gus.
Yeah, I don't often cuss on Dog and Gus, you know.
Oh, look at that! I love it.
It was simple yet refined. You know? Yeah. It's funny though, like musically, like every artist, you probably have a notepad near you at all times, but like every musician that is writing anything in any type of form of art, right? I think that's kind of a language that everybody speaks, as far as it doesn't matter what genre is. Would you agree?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I think, and that is in any creative form, right? Any form of, even as, you know, do you guys call yourself podcasters?
Yeah.
I mean, you must have, if you're thinking of ideas, you might drop down, you know, something real quick, right? You know, in the moment too. I got to interview or talk about this. Or
yes, usually when we trying to think of some unique questions to ask and not asking the same questions all the time. So,
well, it's very important to also feel out the guests. Sometimes they're not as outgoing as you, and you want to kind of get them going. So it takes maybe 10 minutes to have them warm up almost, and then. Yeah,
is that how this felt when we started? Did it feel like that with me?
Oh, you're ready to go. No, but I was so excited to talk to you that I pulled it out of you right away.
There we go. That's it.
Yeah.
He's been waiting for this for a while. He's been very excited.
Yeah. Well, it's of course. It's I was getting. I mean, everybody we interview, I'm excited about, but you know, somebody to talk about something.
Stop lying, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
No, he's your favorite. Jay's your favorite.
You know, your favorite light skin. It's okay, man.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
it's all good. You know. Now, when I used to do radio all the time, I would hate when, you know, I'd have interviewees on and guests on the radio show, and you ask a question and it's literally just a one word response, right? But then there's the people that talk too much, and it's sort of like you have to jump in, and I'm gonna get in and cut you off right there. So I try to be in the middle of that when I'm on the opposite side of it.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a work for us. We had to be careful.
We're podcasters.
We are.
Yeah, we're over 120 now.
Congratulations.
118. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. It's funny. When we started, it was just it was COVID time, and we sort of. I remember meeting Dawg at Saint Laurent, and he was like, "I'm going to start a podcast," and I was like, "We should do a podcast," and he was like,
"About what?"
Music, you idiot. Anyways, yeah. But yeah,
were you guys waiting for the bus or something?
No.
You weren't. Okay. I was going to rhyme Dawg and Gus met on a bus, but it didn't.
We can still do that, but it's. I had my own wheels and everything. We both have our own cars. Awesome. With age comes a couple options.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we were waiting on the bus.
Dawg and Gus.
Yeah, there we go. Terrible.
See, now.
This is how my mind thinks. People hate.
Yeah, it's okay.
And that's awesome.
And then you spoke a little spliff, and then you were kind of like right back into it.
Then I'll chill out a little bit.
Yeah. calm the voices in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was mentioning that, like, he's constantly like thinking about things that rhyme together with stuff.
It's frustrating. Man.
Oh, no doubt.
Do you play any instruments?
No. I when I was a little kid, like 12, 13 in school, I did the trumpet for a bit. I think I can hold a little beat on a set of drums, but aside from that, I think my vocals are the instrumental, and I think I constantly try to be the melodic touch or rhythm added to any beat that I'm on. So I play a vocal instrument is what I do, I should say.
Yes.
Well, that's we get it.
Yeah,
even I get it, and I'm not that bright.
Right, but and just even in what you're doing with what you're doing too, right? The vocal is very important to be able to have control of tones and everything about it, right? How you respond to people, how you talk is very important too. So
yes,
y'all are using your instruments too,
Yes, you're right.
Yes, he is right.
Not to get so deep,
Yeah, it was deep. It was deep. I appreciate it, but
you got to cut him off sometimes from trying to use his radio voice.
Well, I like to bring in the deep voice every now and then.
Yeah.
You can do
we do a
Dog and Gus.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Very good.
Right?
We do a radio
Doug and Gus.
We do a radio show, and he gets a little carried away sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We do a 90s radio show, and then Dawg has his own show. He's going to play some of your stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me know. Tag me if you're on the social media with it.
Absolutely, certainly, we'll do that. It's my pleasure. I would like, after the show, if you could DM us some more folks that we should be listening to and promoting.
For
In
sure.
Ottawa?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I'd love to throw them on my show.
LaFranco.
Yep, he's coming up. That's going to be awesome. But
Shout
I
out to
mean,
Phil Franco. Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah.
Man.
but
He's a nice guy. Nice guy. We met him. We
Yeah.
didn't get to chat with you, unfortunately, at the CMAs, but we chatted with him for a bit, and he was a nice guy. Very nice.
It was an awesome conversation. But yeah, I would love to have more of that, especially for the show.
No, for sure. I got y'all, man. I'll definitely send that. And we, with what I do over at Cranium Arts Project, I'm the music director there too. So constantly, going through talent that have submitted and applied. And we have like a whole list of great talent in the city, to go on for days and put on.
No,
the show
that's
for sure.
awesome. That's so awesome. Now, are you in concert with Mike? You guys do a lot of stuff together?
We work in partnership together quite often as well, with Cranium and Cranium Arts Project and Mike. And then, aside from that, I'm also the project coordinator at the Vanier BIA. So running a lot of events, through all of these organizations that I work with,
Yeah. Do you find the Ottawa scene growing? Is it how do you see it now?
Yeah, I think now we're at a point where, look like you said, you saw me performing at Mike at the CMAs, right? It's, we didn't have this, 10 years ago to have an award show where you could have a hip hop artist, on stage performing from the city. For me, that was like a monumental moment, aside from, like I said, that standing ovation, which was I've never had in my life before, performing all my years. It happened to be in the neighborhood I grew up in. Right. You asked earlier about where I grew up in Centertown. That's literally where I grew up, in that area. So, I remember being a little kid running outside, the Bronson Center, and to be in there all these years later, performing on a stage and getting standing ovations in this, part of the city that I grew up in was pretty epic for me. So it speaks to, yes, things are greater here in Ottawa than when I started.
Yeah, for sure.
And we just need that one artist to break the ceiling here, to smash that ceiling so that people know because we know, we know there's a hell of a lot of talent in this city. Doesn't matter what genre you're talking about. We've got amazing talent in the city and people need to know.
Yeah, but
outside
it's also,
of the city,
we're also a political city, right? We're a government city, and I think that's always gonna like, I don't know if anybody could really name an artist from Washington D.C. And
Dave Chappelle.
Hip hop artist wise,
Dave Chappelle,
but you could probably name 10 from New York, right? Like, so
Of course, yeah.
I think it's just a government city, and it is what it is. But yeah, I agree that there definitely just needs to be one artist, and doesn't matter what genre, that really just represents.
If only there was a podcast
that could do that, right? We'll find
Dog and Gus, I think, is on the way.
Yeah, that would be sweet if we could just have a gig that we just interview people all the time.
That'd be
It's coming. Put it out there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I wrote it down.
He puts it out there. He manifests it all the time.
Yeah. So far we've manifested Lauryn Hill's new album to come out.
Correct.
Yes.
And to Doug
Going
and
through the
Gus
list,
to be constantly, interviewing people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And getting paid for it all the time.
Ooh, there's the manifest we want.
That's the one I was kind of getting at, is just to get paid.
Yeah, forget interviewing people. You just want to get paid.
No. Listen, getting paid to do this would
Right,
be
exactly.
and removing
That's
the other job from your life.
I hear that completely, man.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, no, in 5 to 10 years, I was going to say I see myself doing another interview with Doug and Gus and talking about how much we don't have to talk about it on the show. We could talk about how much we're getting paid off the show.
Remember when we were like, you were in your basement? And
exactly.
And we were in my office,
right?
Like,
exactly. Now we out here on this boat,
Yeah. Yeah, on the canal, just cruising.
One of the canal cruises getting an
Well, a canal, but like not this canal, like a canal.
Oh, like in Venice,
right?
That canal. That's a good.
Not this canal here. It's pretty dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty. Smells bad.
Although it could make for a good podcast.
It would be. Maybe we should do Dog and Gus on the boat.
on the Rideau.
On the Rideau, yeah, on the Rideau.
The Rideau.
What do you do for your free time outside of music?
Be a father.
Yeah.
3 kids at home and constantly, thinking of ways to make more money, like you said. But, trying not to have my whole life focused on that as well, because I think it's very important to be able to spend time with your kids, So I'm happy and where I'm at in life right now, because I'm able to do that with all 3 of my kids and still do what I love, with this music stuff.
That's great.
Is your daughter your biggest fan?
I mean, I think I'm my biggest fan.
Perfect.
Not to sound too cocky, but I think it's important to believe in yourself. So I think I'm my biggest fan for sure. My daughter was when she was younger. Now she, doesn't admit it, but she once in a while will, like, for Father's Day, I got this book, and it says in the book, you're the number one dad because you're so cool with how you rap, and that's what she wrote in it. So
nice.
She doesn't admit it, but she, will write it down and give me my praise on Father's Day,
That's a big win. That's a big win.
Right. And it's going to take a while, right? Because it went from her being my biggest fan, up until she was about 10 or 11 to her, starting to lie now, and then now it's, when she gets about hopefully 16, 17, that kind of starts to change a little bit, I would hope.
Yeah. Yeah, she's going to become her own independent self.
Yep, and she's going to, branch out and hear about other musical artists and stuff. And
that worries me, eh? Yeah, as a father of twin daughters, you just never know what's going to happen down the,
Yeah, and she actually she has the song. She wrote a song 3 years ago, and I never really wanted to ever push my kids to do, what I'm doing or anything they don't want to ever do. Like I want them to do what they want to do, and support them in what they're doing. So with my daughter, she's expressed interest in writing and producing, and anytime she has, I've tried to support her, but never kept pushing on it if she didn't want to continue with it, right? So when she was 10, she was in the moment, and we were in the studio, and she said, "Dad, I want to write a song," and so I helped. It was all her lyrics. I just helped her out a little bit with the flow and putting the structure together, but it was all her thoughts, and showed her how to deliver it a little bit. And first take, she got it. So I have this song that she recorded when she was 10, and I play it for her now at 13, and she's like, "Dad, stop," because it's saying stuff like, I love my dad and mommy, like
yeah, exactly.
so I'm like, I'm gonna
What a
embarrass
nice
you with
piece
it
for
for
yourself,
a while,
though. Yeah.
I think you bring that out on her wedding day.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Well, exactly. All these years later, right? But I say that to say, like, hopefully, she wants to continue down that path of music. I mean, just last year she was asking me about making beats, and I got her an MPC, and so. But again, she hasn't completely dived into that world yet. But it's here for her, and she's ready, and things like that. So it's pretty cool to see. And my 2-year-old the other day, while I was recording a song, was in the background copying what I was doing, and so I got that on the recording.
Nice.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Very cool. Very cool.
Music's such a language for those kids, and that's like, it's like everybody has a bad day, good day. You play some music, you make some music. It's amazing, eh?
That's it. It's always been like that for me too. I've definitely had times where I've felt depressed in life, or stressed, struggles, and that kind of stuff. And I'll play a record, from DMX and completely change my whole energy. So
Yeah.
I think music really can do that for you.
Yeah, and it's universal too, right? It's like everybody. There's not like a culture in this world that doesn't have some form of music or other.
It's true.
And,
So
and
I'll just
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No,
I was
you
going to say that, and on top of that, sometimes it doesn't matter if you understand what's being said, right? Like you can it's the language of music, you
Yep.
can understand.
No, agreed. Because we went to see Rammstein, and they sing in German, and
That's true.
we loved it. So
And then I saw Ice Cube, and I knew everything he was talking about.
yeah, because you're like, you guys are like this.
He's my
That's
favorite.
good.
Ice Cube's my favorite,
Yeah.
like all time. Yeah.
Right
Did you
after
go to the
Jay
Snoop
Morris.
Dogg concert?
No, I like I said, my twins are pretty young, so I got to pick my spots.
Right. Fair enough.
But Cube was important because it was kind of I'd never seen him before, so that was kind of a bucket list moment.
That's epic. Yeah. I'd love to see. I've never seen Ice Cube in concert.
He was really good.
Yeah.
And his, how you guys all have hype mans beside you, but his was Dub C, so it was it was really good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He even crip walked and everything.
Yeah, I missed the show because
You weren't going to go. It's okay.
no, I was somewhere else.
Yeah, you were.
Okay. Just come to the next Jay Morris concert. You'll be okay.
Absolutely,
I'm
we're
in.
in.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm
There we
coming.
go.
You got merch and everything. You got
I
everything
do.
sorted
I
out.
do.
Yeah.
My merch is
You
available.
you
on my
tell us
website.
when, and we'll be there.
Yeah, 100%.
When is the next show?
For myself, the next one, I'd have to look in my calendar, but it's give me a couple of minutes and I could look in a second.
Mhm.
But
We could talk
my
about
website is jmorrisnow.com.
Mhm.
And I have a store up there as well for merch. So,
Okay, cool.
I'm able to go there and check that out for sure.
Nice.
Do you have
August 14th. Sorry, I just blanked out on
August
my show.
14th.
August
That's-
14th. It's happening at Mavericks, and I'm opening for Nems, who's an artist from New York.
Nice.
Mavericks? Really?
Yeah,
I heard.
Mavericks.
I heard they were shutting down.
Oh, they're back, baby.
Still
Oh
there.
yeah.
They got
Hopefully
a new
they don't
owner.
shut down before August 14th.
Oh no, sorry, Jay, because I heard that they were changing it into a restaurant. Because the last time I was down at there for a show, somebody told me that.
Yeah, but I think
Oh, yeah.
they've.
Oh,
Hopefully
that's
not.
so awesome because that's such a
Hopefully
great
not
venue
yet.
to keep.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great venue.
No, it's a great
I've
venue to
performed
keep
there
for
years.
for live music.
Jay's,
So
Jay's gonna play a Chinese food restaurant. And
Yeah,
I'm in for the buffet. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll kill it. I'll eat it up there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He'll just wrap the
Nem-
menu.
And Nems is from New York. You said.
Yeah. Really dope artist, hip hop artist from New York, and yeah, I'm excited, man. Bishop Brigante is also on that lineup as well. So it's gonna be a pretty dope show, man.
Cool. Nice. Well, like, what do you? What can fans expect from a live show?
I mean, for myself, like it's the crowd. Like I go off of vibing with the crowd, so entertaining the crowd, getting y'all to not like controlling the crowd is very much how I perform. So I'm gonna definitely get you to put your hands up. We gonna say hip hop a whole bunch of times. I'm gonna get the energy in the room. I'm gonna make it feel like there's a million people there, even if there's only two. And I bring that energy every time. So I'm definitely, don't rap over my records. Like a lot of artists will be doing. Like, it'll be instrumental and actually me rapping. I love performing with a live band. I don't get to do that all the time. The show on the August 14th isn't with a live band; it'll be with a DJ. But I think you could just expect a great show, and a good time and great music.
Cool. I think we should go.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? August 14th. I think I'm available.
14th, yeah.
Let me check my calendar.
I'll send you all the ticket link.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a Thursday, right? Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday.
You can check the thing. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a day in the week.
A Thursday.
Yeah.
Today,
It's one of those days that ends in
don't
Y.
miss it.
Did you just do that in your mind? You just I can't even. I don't know how people do that. On the 14th is a Thursday. Like what?
Well, we have an event. We're doing a concert on the 17th in Canada, so we just know that it's a Saturday, and that's why I went back on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't do that in my head. That
All
is not me.
I did.
Dog looked like he did.
Yeah, I did because there's an event that
He's a wizard, man.
There's an event that I have to be at Summer Days, and that's the 9th and 10th. So it's Friday and the Saturday.
There you go. Plug
So I kinda
it
just
away.
And I went, there we go. Here we are, right to the 14th.
So it's a Wednesday.
Sunday.
Oh, here we go. Let's see who's right.
My math is bad. It's a day that ends in Y. And I'm gonna go,
It's a Wednesday. I
Wednesday.
just
You're
confirmed
good.
it's a Wednesday.
damn it.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yes.
Come check it out. August
Podcast
14th.
really went off the rail. Just kidding.
No, it didn't. We're fine.
Is there a genre of music that you go to that isn't hip hop?
Question.
I'm sure reggae comes in sometimes with your dad's influence. but-
Yeah, 100% for sure. I couldn't name you, probably any artist off top, but I definitely love country music.
Ooh, really?
And definitely, like you said, reggae. So I'm a fan of all music. Like I just love music in general. So unless it's like, really daunting or painful on the ears, I pretty much love music. And a lot of, like I said, like, some music you listen to, like I listen to artists from the Gatineau side, even like an artist like The Track, who, if you, aren't familiar with, you definitely should have on the show. He speaks English, but, he's definitely raps in French. And, his music, there's another artist from Ottawa, Moon Fu, like when they do, their music and in French, I don't understand what they're saying, but I understand what they're saying, and so, yeah, it's cool like that. I listen to all music,
That's good.
Well, it's interesting that country came up, though, because not a lot of people say that.
No, I mean, I like country.
Yeah, I don't.
You
No?
love country.
I love country.
He loves
All right.
country. he's got a tattoo.
You threw
on
me
his
off for a
arm.
minute. I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm a huge fan.
He's an old school country guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Old school. Like,
Well, I'm old school, and I'm also like, I think after Haggard and Jones and Cash and stuff, I think I jump right to the 90s.
Willie.
Willie, I can't mention them all.
Willie's the man.
No, man. Cash is the man.
Chris Stapleton.
No, actually, Merle Haggard's the man. Anyway, and then I jump to the 90s, and then there's a couple guys now that are piquing my interest.
Yeah, I think
yeah?
Yeah.
what I like
Cool.
about country music is one of those genres where people are really speaking from the soul too, right?
Mhm.
Speaking about what they're going through, and I think I like that kind of music specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. It's very true.
It is.
80s or 90s music?
I have to go to the 90s because I think in the 80s I was just too young to absorb it, absorb it all. I was born in 84. And so, yeah, I think my understanding of music kind of came more in the 90s.
Fair.
Fugees.
Okay, from now on, the artists we're talking to will have to be over 50 years old. I think we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
So we ask everybody that, Jay. It's our kind of our question.
And it's kind of like a little competition we have, but it's not. But
It's
I'm
not a
I'm getting
competition.
my butt kicked because
a
lot of people-
It's basically over.
yeah,
Wouldn't
no, we should
It
stop.
would have been terrible if you're like 80s or 90s, and I was like 2015s actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a good year. Yeah, exactly.
you wouldn't be the first. Yeah, we've had a few. But no, it's a fun question to ask because we can go 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. I mean, there's no wrong answer.
Do you have any artists right now that are hip hop artists in not just in Ottawa but like everywhere that you're listening to? Is there somebody that you can you're feeling right now? Or do you tend to always go back to your 90s and 2000s?
No,
and stuff?
I think I'll name an artist actually I'm feeling. But most of the time I don't listen to other people, to be honest. I purposely, like, I listen to other music on the radio and stuff like that, but I don't go out of my way, I should say, to listen to a new album or things like that as much as I did when I was younger before I got into music. And I think I do that because I don't want to be too influenced by other artists, so especially within my genre. So like if, somebody that's on top of the game right now drops a new album, I'm probably not going to go run and listen to it unless it's somebody like a Lauryn Hill,
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, I try my best to stay away from what's happening out there and just do my own thing and come up with my own sounds. But there is one artist that I just did a record with recently. His name is Osound. He's from Halifax. He's, got records, for days. He's done some pretty big records with Classified. So you'd be familiar, like if you're a fan of Classified, you'd definitely be familiar with this guy's voice. And he raps and he sings. His singing side of his skill is in like one of the craziest R&B singers I've ever heard in the world. And so he's definitely at the top of my list of, I think, artists right now that I'm checking out music from.
Cool.
Aside from that, like, just try to keep it within, what I'm doing. And then, like, obviously working at Cranium, I hear, a lot of the submissions and stuff. So I'm constantly listening to music from within the city too.
Do you get great joy from that, like listening to new music from artists that are under what you're producing?
Yeah, I think, that's why I got into this side of things, is to build a platform for these artists, that I felt I didn't have growing up. And so, being on the opposite side of, receiving the submissions that are coming in, the applications that are being applied for, when we're opening up programming for Cranium, it's cool to give that opportunity. And it's, I don't specifically get to pick who's, booked for the festival. We have a music committee that does that, but I get to, give my feedback on who I'm feeling. And so when I go to music conferences or when I'm going out to local shows and just checking out artists, if I catch somebody, I'm like, that artist is great. I might tell them to apply, in hopes that I can push and nudge their application, hopefully to the right person on, the team and, things like that. So it's cool to be on this side of it. But I also still apply for things too, and I'm on the other side. Like, I've applied for Blues Fest for many years. So if anybody from Blues Fest is watching this, I need my shot at a Blues Fest stage, just putting it out there. But it's cool to be on the other side of it too.
Yeah, for sure. You'll get your shot.
Yeah, we're going to start talking.
Manifesting
it.
We're going to what?
We're going to start talking to people from Blues Fest. We need to get some more local acts in that festival.
Yeah, they're better at it than most, but yeah, they're getting.
They are good, but they could be better
for sure.
Yeah, until they get Jay Morris on the stage, they haven't
exactly
done their job yet.
Exactly. So,
but they're doing good though. But they're just
That'll be the last year they're here, Jay Morris, and then it's like
we edit out.
Okay, we've done enough here in Ottawa. We're done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But I've performed twice at Blues Fest as a special guest on other people's sets. So I've had the opportunity of touching the stage, but I definitely would love to get a Blues Fest set in there, just putting it out there. So now we got Lauryn Hill, album's coming out. The podcast is going to make lots of money, and you're going to interview me at Blues Fest, and we're going to be like on some yacht in, where was it? On a canal somewhere.
No,
canal, like in Venice, Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in Venice, baby.
Putting it out there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
It's all out there now.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Jay Morris.
Even
more so than I was before.
In God We Trust on Dawg and Gus. Look at that.
Oh,
right. So dropping bars here,
I feel like there's a song. I think there's a single in there somewhere.
He's gonna make one for us. You know what?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we have our Dog and Gus song that our friend made, but then maybe have a little intro.
So. Yeah, I'll do a Dog and Gus song, no problem.
Quick, we appreciate that.
Put it together.
Cool. That's
Jay,
awesome.
Jay, thank you, man. Like, we honestly big
thank you.
fans. Love that you represent the city really well, and we'll keep in touch. That's
No, I
so
appreciate y'all.
wonderful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll be at your show on the 14th as well.
Yeah, thanks very much. This was really fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, just stay with us for a minute or two off air, and then enjoy your day.
Sounds good. Until the next time.
Thanks, man.
Doug and Gus, Doug and Gus, Doug and Gus.